It's time now to take a look at what's been making headlines here in France, and for that I'm joined on set by Alison Sargent. Hi, Alison.
Hey, Axie.
Papers looking ahead to today's meeting between French President Emmanuel Macron and Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz.
That's right, Axie. The two leaders will be meeting here in Paris, and this comes amidst a growing rift between Western and Eastern European countries. Le Figaro is worried that the rising anti-EU sentiment in countries like Poland and Hungary is going to throw somewhat of a wrench into Emmanuel Macron's plans to relaunch the EU. The paper warns that Warsaw, Budapest, and Prague are not going to let Paris, Berlin, and Brussels strengthen the EU if it goes against their national interests. Now, Austria, according to Le Figaro, is really the latest country to sort of align themselves with this more Eastern bloc. After conservative Kurz formed a coalition with the far-right Freedom Party, Kurz has given an interview to Le Figaro today in advance of his visit. He says his government's priority in 2018 is going to really be security. And to that end, he calls for stronger controls on Europe's borders, as well as changes to Europe's migrant policy.
So speaking of migration, Alison, left-wing papers here in France are coming down quite hard on the French government's plans to tighten immigration law.
That's right. The government says that their goal is really to process asylum requests more quickly, which means sending back more quickly those who don't qualify for asylum. Left-wing paper Libération calls it migrant sorting on their front page today. The paper compares Macron's policies to those of another politician. You can see they say Sarkozy dreamed about it. Well, Macron has done it. The paper says the laws will lead to a huge rise in deportations. They'll also prolong the amount of time asylum seekers can be detained. Aid groups, Libération reports, are uniformly up in arms against these reforms, and Libération actually uses some wordplay to make this point. They say the government repousse les frontières. The government is pushing the boundaries, not the boundaries of the country, of course, though the boundaries of decency.
So another piece of news that's been scandalising many here in France, retailers who sold contaminated baby formula after it was recalled for carrying salmonella.
Right, this is milk from the dairy giant Lactalis, one of the biggest dairy producers in the world. The street paper 20 Minutes says the scandal is now overflowing, so a little more French wordplay today. Lactalis, French supermarket chains, and the government are all being blamed for this scandal. The French government met yesterday with distributors, and today the CEO of Lactalis will be meeting with the government to defend their case. Lactalis is suspected of continuing to deliver the contaminated milk to retailers, despite knowing there was a danger of this contamination. France's health minister commented on the scandal yesterday. She said the excuses and apologies already given by Lactalis are insufficient.
And finally, from you, Alison, it's mid-January, the holiday season is firmly behind us, and that can mean only one thing: it's time to get divorced for some.
That's right, Hexie. It's a well-known phenomenon, actually, that couples who are maybe struggling in their relationship in the fall sort of wait out the holidays and break up once the holiday season is over. There's a new study on the front page of Le Parisien today that confirms this, and they say it's particularly for couples who are over 50. This study was conducted for a dating site that is dedicated to those over 50 years of age, and they found that for people in that age range, a third of divorces occur in January, which sort of makes sense because you could imagine maybe they're more likely to have big families at that age and a reason to sort of make it through the holidays. Cartoonist, though, Vincent has another explanation. You can see this man in this cartoon is asking, what, after decades of life together, you want to divorce now that we finally reached retirement? And his wife says, well, you know, that's just it. I never had time to mention it before.
Let's not end on that depressing note. You have one more story for us.
That's right. France has a new weekly magazine. It's called Hebdo, for the French word hebdomadaire, which means weekly. They've dropped the H, though, to make it seem maybe a little bit hipper. This is the front page of their first issue, which has just come out. You can see their cover story there is about France's national train company, the SNCF. The magazine has long articles and few ads. The editors say their goal is to really provide somewhat of a remedy to the information overload we so often deal with on a daily basis.
Looking forward to flicking through that one. Alison Sargent, with your look through the French papers today, thank you very much indeed.